One, I was actually raised by a single mother with a pool of young women actually behind me, my sisters. And many times I would look at them the way they were trying to push their lives, and we used to have quite so many problems that were coming up within our societies, problems of culture, religion, especially being a Muslim. You would look out, there are certain instances, there are certain constraints that you can't push as a woman. And I used to tell my mother that you stop crying, like most of these are the problems of the world. But so in one or the other, I actually found myself taking gender as a component, gender as a cause in itself, because I've always loved to really be the change that I want to see. How do I actually help quite so many young women, quite so many women actually out there that are trying to really go through the hard situation. So I thought I would confront the basic challenges, those very challenges in the community by merely being active within the whole process itself. So I had to go in a course, internalize those dynamics very well, so that I would actually be a potential, like a key person to advocate for a better society that we would love to see. So that's why I ended up actually taking gender and development, in trying to see how do we align, like gender issues or like gender dynamics into the development that recognizes men and women towards achieving, the everlasting development that we all yearn for. So it stems out up from the initial challenges that we are introduced is through our socialization, that we seem to look at them as challenges and try to confront them so that we can have a better generation in the near future.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question for all of you together. It's not because I'm living outside of Africa that I don't know what the challenges and the thing we have to fight in Africa are. I'm from West Africa, and we have the same issue across the continent. So I have many issues that I would like to really try to touch upon with you guys. What do you think? I'm talking to everybody here, right? About early marriage of girls. How can we change that in our society? How can we accept a girl of 8 years old, even a 16 years old girl, to marry a man of 50 years old? For me, personally, if it's a tradition, it's a wrong one and it has to be changed. For me, I consider that as a pedophilia. One thing. Second question, how can we all together fight against female genital mutilation? Why it is happening? Because we're talking about education right now. You guys are educated, you speaking exactly what I would like to hear from young educated people from Africa that are the future of my continent that I'm fighting for. So in order to achieve a better society, there are challenges that you guys and me have to take up on. How do we go to our villages, our community, our people, and tell them that not respecting women, not giving rights to any girl that is born in our continent to achieve the dreams is wrong? Because you know very well that a girl that is born in Africa has no identity. She belongs to her father, and the father has the right to marry her to any man that he chooses to. And that is a fundamental right that we have to fight for, because every child, boys and girls, have the same rights. So it's important for me to find a solution with you guys, because in the Western world where I am here, people always come up with those questions. I'm trying to put girls to highly secondary education. How do I achieve that without facing early pregnancy, early marriage? How will we help those girls in Africa to achieve their goal and to be potential partners of the African society with men together? Hamed was talking about religion too. Religion is also one thing that we have to talk about. Religion cannot take away people's dream. An educated woman is an asset for a man. How do we all collectively make that happen?
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm listening.
Yeah, you're listening. I think you talked about 3 or 4 things. First of all, you talked about early marriages. You talked about genital mutilation. You also talked about society or religion really thinking that young women are assets. And for me, I look at them as belief and also conduct. There's a very thin line between those. There's a very thin line between those two. And you talked about education. We talked about education in the first place as a solution to development, but I'm also trying to link it to the change in culture, in cultures. I shared some experiences with young girls from Kenya, with activists actually from Kenya, and they really hold education high when it comes to solving the issue of early marriages and also genital mutilation. And it's quite logical that when girls are given chance to go through the mainstream education, at different levels they get to realize, because culture is about socialization. That is how they are socialized. That is how they are oriented right from childhood. And education also is another form of socialization, orientation. So I'm looking at us using education to undo or unwash the brains that are already washed, to think in such a way that men are supposed to be in a particular position, and also women, girls or women are supposed to also be in their position. So I'm looking at a situation where at primary level, young girl is introduced to education, and the education system also should be tailored in such a way that there's a particular curriculum aspect that brings out those issues to say that women are as important and very crucial in the development of their communities as their male counterparts.
Absolutely.
And when we go on to the secondary or tertiary level, we get to introduce to the broader world, the global, kind of setting, whereby the issue of mutilation or early marriages is really not tolerated. So with that exposure through the education system, I think we shall go a long way in undoing those practices, and also the victims, actually, I'm looking at the victims themselves getting to realize, because when we preach to them about the vices of the cultures, as the cultures preach or dictate, it will be them themselves, the victims, to really come up in arms and fight for their rights. Because for me, I believe in a rights-based approach. So when young ladies, young women appreciate their rights, they'll be able to in arms and defend them. And given the level of education that they'll have been, given, they should be able to really defend their rights. But then, education also, I emphasize that it should be quality education. Fine, the issue of going through the mainstream education for young girls is one issue, but the other is quality. For example, if a girl or a young lady came out of the education system, can they be able, do they have the similar skills? Have they attained the same quality education that boys are also, given? Or even then, is it that both male and female, youths, are they given quality education such that they can be able to compete and have the skills to work at all levels? Let it be national, let it be local, let it be global.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boys, how can you help? Because, and you know what? I believe in girls' education, but I believe in girls' education with men being educated too, because girls becomes mothers, and the education of a boy, a respecting woman, boys start home with the mother that will raise the boys, telling the boys you owe respect to your sister. Because if you respect your sister and your mother, the wife that you have later on, you respect it, and you respect your daughter too, and therefore you want the best for your daughter, and you will not accept any early marriage for your daughter. So I don't think we can achieve any goal by only educating the girls, but also educating men.